Life on the outer colonies was simple if sometimes unbearably dull. My post was a remote outpost near the rim, more a glorified watchtower than anything else. The job wasn't demanding routine patrols, keeping an eye on sensor readings, and making sure the supply drones didn't wander off course. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid, and more importantly, it kept me far from the crowded chaos of the core worlds. The biggest problem was the isolation. Weeks would pass without a single visitor, and while I didn't mind solitude, there were nights when the silence pressed too heavily. On one such evening, half out of boredom and half out of mischief, I sent a playful request into the void. Standing by the comms panel, I raised a glass of cheap synth ale and declared into the static, "Attention universe. This lonely outpost commander humbly requests a wife, preferably tall, preferably terrifying, and preferably interested in long walks under alien skies." I chuckled at my own joke, shaking my head as I shut the comms down. Just a silly gesture, a way to break the monotony. Nothing more, or so I thought. The next night, the sky lit up with fire. At first, I assumed it was a meteor shower, but the streak of burning light resolved into a descending craft. Sirens blared as the outpost sensors scrambled to identify it, but the system only spat out one word in flashing red: unknown. I rushed outside, shielding my eyes as the vessel roared down and landed on the rocky plain beside the outpost. Dust and heat rolled across the ground. The ship was jagged and dark, its hull etched with crimson runes that pulsed like veins. The air smelled faintly metallic, tinged with something sharper, like the tang of blood. The hatch hissed open. From the shadows stepped a figure draped in black armor, tall and regal. Her skin was pale as moonlight, her hair flowing like a silken waterfall of midnight. Eyes the color of fresh spilled wine locked onto me with unsettling intensity. She didn't speak at first, simply studied me as though measuring my worth. Then, in a voice both melodic and chilling, she said, "I heard your request." My mouth went dry. Request. Her lips curved into something between a smile and a threat. "You asked for a wife. I am here to accept." My brain stuttered. Surely this was some kind of mistake or a very committed prank. Wait, you mean that broadcast? That was a joke. But the woman, no, the vampire standing before me, tilted her head, unconvinced. "Words cast into the stars carry weight. You called and I have answered. I am Celine, Warbride of the Crimson Houses. From this night forward, I am yours." The wind howled across the plain, as though punctuating her declaration. And as I stood frozen in disbelief, one terrifying truth settled in. My joke had just rewritten my entire life. The silence stretched between us, broken only by the hum of Celine's ship cooling in the night air. I stared at her, mouth half open, searching for words that wouldn't come. She stood perfectly still, like a statue carved of ice and midnight, her crimson eyes never leaving mine. "You can't be serious," I finally managed. "I was joking, just blowing off steam." Her gaze hardened. "Do you mock me, human? You issued a call and I chose to answer. The pact is sealed." "Pact?" I repeated, taking an involuntary step back. Celine moved closer, and with each step the air grew colder, charged with something primal. "Among my kind, words spoken to the cosmos are binding. A request for a bride is no trifling matter. It is a challenge, a vow, and I am the one who has claimed it." I swallowed hard, heart pounding. She was taller than I expected, her presence overwhelming, as though the shadows bent toward her. Everything about her screamed danger. The sharpness of her armor, the faint shimmer of fangs when she spoke, the way the stars themselves seemed to dim in her presence. "Look," I said carefully, raising my hands in surrender. "I think there's been a cultural misunderstanding. Where I come from, what I did was a joke. People say things they don't mean all the time." Her expression softened slightly, though not in comfort. It was the softness of a predator amused by its prey. "Then your people are foolish with their words. In the Crimson Houses, intention or not, a vow cannot be retracted. You asked, and now you are bound. Before I could protest further, she reached out and clasped my wrist. Her touch was ice-cold, yet her grip was unyielding. For a moment the world spun. Images flashed in my mind, armies in red and black banners, battlefields lit with fire, Selene herself cutting through legions like a blade incarnate. I gasped as the vision faded, leaving me trembling. What was that? I whispered. Our bond, she said simply. I have tied your fate to mine. You are my chosen, my husband, my anchor in this realm. To deny it is to invite ruin. I stared at her, utterly dumbfounded. Husband? Anchor? Lady, we just met. Her lips curved again, that unsettling almost smile. All unions begin somewhere. Ours begins tonight. I tried to pull my wrist free, but her strength was inhuman. She didn't hurt me, but the weight of her grip carried a message clearer than words. I wasn't escaping this easily. You can't just show up and claim me, I muttered. Her eyes glittered with amusement. And yet, I have. The wind howled again, rattling the outpost walls. Above us, the stars seemed to burn brighter, as if bearing witness to the impossible bargain I had stumbled into. My so-called wife had arrived, and she wasn't leaving. Inside the outpost, the atmosphere felt different. The familiar space, my quiet refuge of metal walls, worn furniture, and shelves stacked with ration packs, suddenly seemed too small to contain the woman who had just declared herself my wife. Selene moved with deliberate grace, her crimson eyes studying everything as though committing it to memory. I paced near the comms console, still reeling. This is insane. You can't just claim a stranger as your husband. Where I'm from, marriage doesn't work like that. She turned toward me, her pale skin glowing faintly in the dim light. Marriage among your people is fragile. Words are tossed aside when they no longer please. Among the crimson houses, union is eternal. I have spoken your name into my lineage. From this moment you are mine by oath, by blood, by the stars themselves. Blood, I echoed nervously. That sounds ominous. She stepped closer, lowering her voice. It is not ominous. It is sacred. You misunderstand me, human. To be Warbride's husband is not to be shackled. It is to be exalted. You will share in my strength. My victories will be yours. My enemies will tremble at your name. That sounds less like marriage and more like conscription, I muttered. Her lips curved. Call it what you will. But you are bound to me now, and the houses will recognize you as my chosen. Already word has spread across the dark channels. You will not walk unseen again. A chill ran down my spine. What do you mean? Selene's gaze sharpened. There are those who will see you as a prize to be stolen, a weakness to exploit. By binding myself to you, I have placed a mark upon your soul. It is both shield and target. They will know you belong to me. The thought sent my mind spinning. I had gone from harmless outpost keeper to someone with a giant cosmic target on his back. All because of one foolish joke. You make it sound like I don't have a choice, I said, though my voice lacked conviction. You do, she replied, surprising me. You may walk away now, and I will not stop you. But know this, those who hear of your bond with me will not respect your choice. They will come. They will hunt. Alone you will fall. At my side you will rise. For the first time, I saw something in her eyes beyond cold authority. A flicker of sincerity, even vulnerability. She truly believed in this bond. In us, despite how absurd it seemed to me. I sank into a chair, running my hands over my face. I just wanted a quiet post. A little peace. And now you're telling me I'm tied up in galactic blood oaths. Selene inclined her head. Peace is for the dead. You wished for a wife. You have a queen of war. Her words hit like a hammer. And deep down, though I hated to admit it, some part of me stirred. Not just fear, but the thrill of something greater. The night outside deepened, stars glittering through the narrow viewport. Selene stood tall by the door, her presence so commanding it seemed the cabin itself bent around her. I sat hunched at the table, torn between disbelief and the creeping realization that there might be no way out of this. Finally, I broke the silence. So, let's say I accept this. What happens next? Do I just announce to the galaxy that I've married a vampire warlord? Her crimson eyes gleamed. Not a warlord. A warbride. My people fight, yes, but our unions are what give us strength. You will not be paraded as property. You will stand at my side. They will learn your name, and in time, they will fear it. Great, I muttered. Fear was always at the top of my marriage goals. To my surprise, she laughed softly. A sound both musical and unsettling. You jest, but you will understand. Already, the bond is growing. You felt it earlier when our hands touched. That was the first thread. Soon, you will sense my presence even across stars. And I will feel yours. The weight of her words pressed on me. A part of me wanted to recoil, to slam the door and hide from all of this. But another part, some restless ember inside me, sparked at the thought of being more than just a forgotten outpost warden. You're really not giving me a choice, are you? I asked quietly. Celine's expression softened, if only a fraction. I gave you the choice. I told you to walk away if you wished. But you remain here speaking with me. That tells me all I need to know. She was right, damn her. I hadn't run, hadn't demanded she leave. I was still here, caught between terror and fascination. All right, I said slowly, exhaling hard. Suppose I play along. Suppose I accept this bond. What does that make me? A husband? A consort? A snack? Her lips curved into that predatory smile again. Not a snack. Never that. You are my partner. My chosen. In time, you will see that I do not take what is mine to protect. Something in her tone, fierce yet tender, sent an unexpected shiver down my spine. I rubbed the back of my neck, muttering. I was just trying to break the silence. One stupid joke. Celine stepped closer, her presence filling the room. She leaned down, her voice a whisper like velvet and steel. And in one joke you called to the stars, and the stars answered. Fate rarely works as we intend. Her hand brushed mine again, colder than ice yet oddly comforting. The bond flared once more, a pulse of energy that made my heart race. I looked up at her, and for the first time I didn't see just a terrifying warrior. I saw a woman who had chosen me, for reasons I couldn't yet understand. All right, I whispered. Warbride or not, I guess I'm in. Her smile widened, and for the briefest moment, I thought I saw warmth beneath the predator's edge. Then from this night forward, you are mine, and the galaxy will remember it. Outside, the stars blazed brighter, as if sealing the pact. My quiet life was gone forever. In its place, I had gained something terrifying, impossible, yet strangely thrilling. A vampire warbride who had answered my call.